Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I'm GC Smith, and welcome to Day 4 of the Battle of Zendikar spoiler season. And today we have some real doozy spoilers, some really exciting cards, so let's get straight into it with Munda, Ambush Leader. 2 red and a white for a 3/4 core ally legendary creature with haste and rally. And his rally reads, whenever Munda, Ambush Leader, or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, you may look at the top 4 cards of your library. If you do, reveal any number of ally cards from among them, and put the cards on top of your library in any order, and the rest on the bottom in any order. So, this card is kind of like a repeatable Goblin Recruiter, or Goblin Matron, I think that card is. The one that just, play it and then you search your... Goblin Matron, I guess, is like you search library for any number of Goblin cards and put them on top. But this is kind of a similar effect, although actually the repeatableness of this is kind of meh. So you don't draw any of these cards. It's not a form of card advantage, which I guess in red-white is okay. But then you're just gonna be putting, say you put 3 core on top, right? Then you draw a core and you play it. 3 ally on top. Sorry, draw an ally, play it. Do the effect again. You see the top 2 are ally anyway, and the other 2 might have allies. I guess it's okay because it kind of gets rid of non-ally cards, so it allows you to keep triggering allies. But this effect, I think, is purely limited fodder. I'm not certain this effect will be that good in Constructed, especially when there's no way to draw the cards. Then again, he does have 3 power, and some of the allies probably all going to have 3 or so power, the good ones. And they're going to be the ones that you're going to be wanting to use with the, 3 mana enchantment whenever a creature of power 3 or more enters the battlefield, draw a card. So you might be able to stack the triggers that way, I guess. But still, it's not that amazing a card. Okay body, and again, it's okay effect in limited to help keep you drawing gas, without decking yourself. But still, I don't know, I'm not really entirely excited about that. But next up, we do have some really exciting cards. Yesterday, I mentioned we had 4 of the uncommon gold cards designed to instruct you how to build your draft deck, and I had hoped we'd see the other 5 soon. Well, we see the other 5 today. So first up, we have Catacombs Sifter, 1 green black for a 2/3 Eldrazi drone with Devoid, and when it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 Eldrazi sign onto the battlefield, and whenever another creature you control dies, scry 1. This card is just so sweet. 3 power and 4 toughness over 2 bodies with an additional upside of scrying 1 whenever a creature you control dies. Oh, and the Scion dies when you sack it for mana. This card is so sweet in limited and is so close to being constructed playable. I'm not certain if it will be or not. I can't really decide either way on this card. It's just so sweet and so close to that really good playability line. The fact it ramps you into a 4-drop almost straight away, 5-drop almost straight away is really good if you have it at the 4th land. And if not, it helps you hit Siege Rhino faster, I guess, in a green-black-white deck. So there is that going for it. It also depends on how good the Devoid playability is, whether or not we want a lot of colorless cards in the meta. If you do, well, then this card is just an absolute bomb in Standard. And in Limited, it is always going to be a bomb. Next up, we have Herald of Kozilek, 1 blue-red for a 2/4 Eldrazi drone with Devoid, and colorless spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So unlike Catacombs Sifter, I think this is kind of the opposite way round. Absolute constructed playable in both modern and standard, I think. More so modern than standard, possibly. And it could almost be there in limited depending on how big the colours theme is. Certainly looks like there's going to be a lot of colours cards, so this guy could be really good, but I'm not too sure about the blue-red deck and how that works. A lot of these colours cards are really big and kind of make you want to play green, so we'll have to see how that goes. But that said, for constructed playability, this guy is a total powerhouse. In Modern, at least, he curves straight into Batterskull on 4, or he allows you to play, I don't know, any of the 5 swords on 4 and equip them, which is great. This guy is absolutely perfect for that, and he's a 2/4. So he survives the bolt, so he passes the bolt test, he survives the lightning bolt, and he allows you to play and equip a sword next turn, to him, quite possibly, and attack through. This guy, I think, is the one card I was waiting for to make a Jeskai equipment deck work in Modern. I always wanted to play equipment. I've never really had the chance to, and this guy really, really works there. And in Standard, again, because color spells you cost one less to cast, he's good there. He curves into a lot of other spells, which is quite good. He actually does okay with mana rocks as well. That's another thing I forgot to mention is he makes mana rocks one less to cast. So that could be a thing in Modern and Standard. We don't need to, well, we have to wait to see that. But no, this guy's really good. And there's a lot of, again, there's a lot of colorless cards he can curve into that I think are really good. So I do think he's going to see a lot of play. Next up, we have Drana's Emissary, 1 white-black for a 2/2 vampire cleric ally with flying, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So that is just super sweet card. A 2/2 for 3 flying passes the French vanilla test, and the drain for 1 every turn is just super sweet as well. I like this card because there's not much flying currently in the set that we've seen and not much reach. This card is just really powerful beater in the air, and it drains you for 1 every turn, or drains them for 1 every turn, keeping your life up slightly and making their life go down slightly. And there's one thing we all know is the incidental life gain, thanks to cards like Corso, Crucifix, and Herald of the Pantheon. The incidental life gain is nothing to be sniffed at. This card is going to be great in Limited. Not so great in Constructed necessarily. 3 mana for a 2/2 flyer that drains 1 is a little low, or a little costly. That's the kind of thing you'd maybe want for 2 mana. For actually to be playable necessarily, but it's still a very sweet Limited card. Next up, we have Resolute Blade Master, 3 red white for a 2/2 human soldier ally with Rally. Whenever it or another ally enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control gain double strike into end of turn. This guy is a Limited powerhouse. First pick all of the time. He is so powerful. Giving your entire team double strike just when he enters the battlefield is definitely a 5 mana ability, especially when it's repeatable. And we've not seen that much removal currently in the format, so this guy is going to go all the way in an ally deck. Combine that with the ally we saw yesterday that gives +2/+2 when it enters the battlefield. It's super sweet. I really like it. This card is amazing, and it's just going to be really good Limited. Constructed-wise, I think it's a little slightly too slow, slightly too expensive for what it gets. It can win you games, certainly Constructed. I just don't think it's going to be that powerful. So, Limited Bomb, almost certainly. Constructed, not quite there. Well, next up we have Skyrider Elf, X green-blue, for a 0/0 elf warrior ally with flying, and Converge, which it enters the battlefield with 1/1 counter on it for each colour of mana spent to cast it. So at the minimum, it's always going to be a 2/2 with a green and blue. But the fact that this guy can be put into like a 5-color draft deck is insane. It definitely looks like they're going to be doing like a 5-color draft strategy, which after Modern Masters 2015, I am certainly okay with. This guy is really cool. Again, like I said with Drana's Emissary, flying is going to be really good in this set by the looks of it, especially for early aggression, and a cheap 2/2 flyer for 2 is always going to be loved. And it's one that scales to the late game if you get additional colors. Yes, please. Great card, absolutely love to see it, and it's just so good at uncommon. Great. Well, next up we have Felidar Sovereign. You may recognize this guy because this guy is a reprint from the original Zendikar block. 4 white for a 4/6 cat beast, I think it is, with Vigilance and Lifelink. Oh, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 40 more life, you win the game. This guy is going to be super sweet and Limited, and he's a rare now, down from Mythic, his last printing, which is super sweet. So good. Super Limited Bomb, EDH playable. I don't know really what else to say about it. Constructed, I look at this and go, I wish this was Constructed playable. I want to play like a white-blue based control deck in the next format, and this guy is super sweet, but turning on enemy removal that may not be otherwise on is just, ugh. But Lifelink and Vigilance are 2 great abilities to stopping aggro, and having a win con attached to it is just so good. Then again, he is a 4/6 beater, so in Standard I'm not sure he needs that ability, but great win con for life gain decks and EDH at least. And in Limited, he's going to be super powerful with his attacking and brilliant. Just so good. Just so good. Well, next up we have a Mythic Eldrazi, Void Winnower, 9 mana for 11/9, which is super passing the vanilla test. Your opponents can't cast spells with even converting mana costs. Oh, and they can't block creatures with even converting mana costs. This card is so good. Not only does it stop your opponent casting things like Languish and Dig through time, in Constructed, where I think this guy could see some amount of play, but in Limited he stops so many cards. In fact, he stops a lot of the ally cards that seem to be even coloured, even mana costs, and he stops them blocking your even mana cost creatures, of which, by the way, there are a few in Eldrazi. Really, though, it really depends on what kind of deck you put together, but that's a super sweet effect, and it's a really good build around me. Build around it with him being your only, your odd converted mana cost card, and have the rest as even, and, well, you're going to have a fun time. Not necessarily super playable, but a super fun effect, and I love seeing fun cards. You get kind of bored eventually with too many good cards, just plain good cards that aren't interesting. This guy being interesting and possibly being good for decent mana cost is fairly fun to see. Next up, we have a second green mythic of this set so far, Green Warden of Marasa. 4 green for 5/4 elemental. When Green Warden of Marasa enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. When it dies, you may exile it. If you do, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Boy, this card is powerful. Double return to your hand effects is insane. Now, I've seen people reading this card and complaining that it's not like when it dies, you get a card back, and I'm sitting there thinking, are you nuts? If it's just when it dies, you can create you can just keep creating loops or bring them back with each other. Oh, and let's not forget, you already have Den Protector in the format. How much answer to control does green need? Seriously, this is super insane card advantage at the late game, and it's a 5/4 creature that you also get to return a card straight away when it enters the battlefield. This is super playable. The fact that then, when it dies, you may exile it to do that is, again, super playable. Oh, and the fact that your opponent might put it back into your graveyard using Eldrazi processors, again, kind of makes it slightly more powerful for you. Sure, it gives them a benefit when it's in the exile zone, which is not always great, but they're not, necessarily going to easily want to do that. Are they going to easily want to give you one of these back in your graveyard so there's a chance when you play a second you get another one back? Yeah, they're not going to be so confident to do that. Either way, this card is something you're going to have to look out for, and it's an enter the battlefield effect. Hello, finally having a use for cards like See the Unwritten. Yes, I know there's a lot of big Eldrazi in the set, which makes people want to do it. Again, Void of Winnower, great combination with that. But a lot of the best Eldrazi have cast effects, which is one of the reasons why I've not bought into for See the Unwritten. Well, I'm probably going to go and open my friend's trade folder and hope he hasn't seen the price rises, and trade for a few tomorrow at FNM. Next up, we have a 4-mana rare artifact. We have Hedgehog Network. When Hedgehog Network enters the battlefield, exile all creatures with power 5 or greater as long as it remains on the battlefield. I'm not sure how to feel about this card. It's definitely good at exiling Eldrazi, and the art of an Ulamog within a ring of Hedgehogs is super sweet. But I don't like this. It should be white. And this is such a white effect, and it's such a shame that it's been given to every colour. It's also such a shame that decks like Mono Red Aggro now have access to a way to just exile big threats that can actually block them and stabilize the game. Really, that's my major problem with this card, is it's breaking the colour pie for a lot of colours and giving colours that shouldn't have access to it. That said, as a control player, I'm not too fussed because I'm not going to be running that many big creatures, and it's an extra answer for me for big threats in my sideboard, I guess. So, 4-mana Wrath of big creatures? Cool, that's not too bad. Next up, we have the second manland of the set, Shambling Vent. Shambling Vent enters the battlefield tapped and can tap to add white or black to your mana pool. And for 1 white-black, Shambling Vent becomes a 2/3 white-black elemental creature with lifelink until end of turn, and it's still a land. So unlike the last manland, Tumbling Forwards, I'm not certain this is all that amazing. Certainly it's a manland and will see play, and it's good for just being a manland. Automatic 4 of in any white-black deck, simply for that basis. Unless you're Abzan, in which case you may want the green-black one when that's spoiled. Either way, this card is really cool, it looks nice, and it has a decent ability, I guess, but it's not too powerful. A 3 toughness body without any defensive abilities like hexproof or ability to pump its toughness can be kind of meh in formats. In Modern, I don't think it will see too much play. Standard, it definitely will, obviously just being the manland available to your deck. especially since it seems they're going to be splitting them 3 in this set and 2 in Oathwatch, so this may be the only one your deck gets access to until Oath of the Gatewatch. But yeah, like, a lot of people aren't really excited about it. I'm not saying it's terrible, but it's just not that powerful. 2/3 body is, well, it doesn't shut down aggro decks, let's just say that. Nice, because it regains you a bit of life and it can stabilize you once you've got the board clear, but I don't know, it's hard to be excited about it. I want to be excited about it because it's a man land, but it's hard to be excited about it because it just seems so average, I guess. Then again, I've never really played man lands before, as I've never owned one for any of my decks. I've played against them and I know functionally how they work, but never owned any because up until recently I just didn't have the money to invest in like proper tier 1 decks. Now I'm trying to play properly. So yes, that's all the new cards for today, but there's still one gorgeous card. And by the way, this card is gorgeous. Have a look at Misty Rainforest, the Zendikar Expeditions version. This card is so beautiful, and actually is one of the first that actually looks like what its name is. So this looks like a Misty Rainforest. This art is so great, and yeah, I'm just so happy about this card. Hoping I pull one, just so hoping I pull one. This card is going to be so valuable, especially in the years to come. So anyway, that's all the spoilers and info for today. Again, if there's anything to spoil later this evening or over the night, I will put in tomorrow's video. So yes, thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you're enjoying the series. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to be doing some more Magic content soon, not just spoiler videos. I'm going to try and branch out into a full Magic channel. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.